Good afternoon. This is the October 1st, 2025 Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals 2 p.m. meeting. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
I do. I see a lot of fresh faces in the audience, so I will go through the manner in which we conduct our hearings, all of which are videotaped for your future reference if you choose to avail yourselves of that. We have a court reporter who will take down everything that is said, so we would ask that you not speak over each other. There are no requests for adjournment this afternoon, so I will dispense with that. We're going to call the cases in order. And the manner in which we conduct the individual hearings is as follows. The applicant is given the opportunity to present their case. In the event there are people who object, they will be given the opportunity to be heard. And finally, we will give the applicant the opportunity to sum up. We then close the cases. If once we close the case, we will not allow any additional evidence to be presented, but during the hearings and prior to the close of the case, we allow virtually anything in terms of evidence. If you have petitions, you have letters, you have emails, and you'd like to introduce them into evidence, we will undoubtedly take them. We're not a court of law. We're an administrative body, as a result of which we're not burdened by the strict rules of evidence. I think that about sums up everything I would like to say. If Patrick, you will call the first case, I would appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, we do have an adjournment for this afternoon. Case 42825, Point Lookout, Stephanie Keller. Variance lot area occupied, side yard, rear yard, construct dwelling, also known as 97 Hewlett Avenue.
Anyone here on this case? Come up. Who's making the application for adjournment? And you represent whom?
The homeowner.
You're the owner?
Stephanie Keller, 97 Hewlett Avenue, Point Lookout, New York, 11569.
You are?
Good morning, Chairman Ragano. My name is Kenneth Allen Brown of the law firm of Kenneth Allen Brown, PLC, 2115 Hempstead Turnpike, first floor, East Meadow, New York, 11554, on behalf of an adjoining neighbor at 90-foot Greenwood Avenue, the owner of that property, and we've submitted a letter consenting to the adjournment sought by the applicant.
Well, why do you need another adjournment? This case was adjourned from August 6th.
Chairman Ragano, what we are requesting is time in order for us to make revisions to the plans. Mr. Brown has approached our attorney in order for discussions to open up regarding negotiations to make changes in order to comply a little bit better with the zoning code, and obviously to also take in consideration the rear neighbor that is opposed to this house being built.
Can I just ask, what's the rear neighbor's, what's your client's address?
94 Greenwood Avenue.
I think it's Glenwood.
There's no Greenwood in Point Lookout.
I believe it's Glenwood,
Glenwood,
Avenue.
maybe?
I'm sorry,
Correct.
Glenwood.
Thank you.
Glasses.
Better.
Glenwood, I apologize.
Okay. Patrick, do you have a date in mind?
November 19th, 2 p.m.
That stands A-okay with me.
Two p.m.
Is that acceptable, counsel?
Absolutely. Just to concur with what the applicant's representative has said, we are in discussions with the applicant's attorney. They're going to make some design changes, and we're hoping that that will resolve and we won't have any opposition any further.
All right. See you on November 19th.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Welcome.
Next, we'll be calling case 52725 Atlantic Beach, New York, SMSA Limited Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. Special exception to install 9 wireless communication antennas, 2 equipment cabinets, and 1 natural gas generator on top of existing building, also known as 1395 Beach Street.
I'm an attorney. Good evening. My name is David Kenny. I'm an attorney with Snyder & Snyder. I'm here today to represent Verizon Wireless in their application for a special use permit at 1395 Beach Street. My law firm's address is 94 White Plains Road, Tarrytown, New York. As was just stated, this is an application for Verizon. They have a significant gap in service along Beach Street and the surrounding areas. This is a way to fill in that gap in service without needing a new cell phone tower. We're able to co-locate on an existing building on the Sands Atlantic Beach Club. We're proposing the antennas behind screen walls so they won't be visible from the public. And then related equipment will be located in the center of the rooftop behind existing HVAC equipment, which also is going to be limited visibility, particularly from the site distances. With the large property and the large surrounding buffering uses, there's really not going to be much of a visibility of this facility. The public should not be able to notice the facility, which in our aspects we think is the best type of wireless facility, one that will fill the gap in service but will create the least amount of intrusion on the community, and also one that hopefully the community won't really notice. We're here today with engineers to go over the walkout of the site. We also have Verizon's RF engineers to discuss any kind of radio frequency questions or questions regarding the need for the facility and the services to be provided. But we're also here to answer any questions from the board and the public. If I may, I'd like to call up our engineer to just walk through the site plan and show the board where everything is proposed on the property.
Sir,
You have to sign.
You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please take a seat and state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Neil McDonald, managing partner with WFC Architects. Address is 12-1 Technology Drive, Setauket, New York. Thank you for having us today. Just a fairly straightforward site, providing telecommunication service for Verizon Wireless without the need to construct a new tower structure.
Could you possibly speak a little louder, sir?
Sure. So the equipment is going to be placed on an existing building, the Sands Beach Club. This equipment is all going to be located on the rooftop, so there's no need to construct anything on the ground. All of the equipment will be screened from view within enclosures that are designed to match the facade of the building. They'll all be painted out to kind of blend and sort of harmonize with the existing architecture of the facility. The power and telephone service will be obtained from facilities within the building itself. So again, no need to disrupt utilities. This is an unmanned facility, so there's no need for increased parking or traffic to the site. The site is visited once a month from a technician just to check on the equipment. There's no use of water or generation of waste as a result of the site. So it's fairly benign installation. And as we indicated, it would be relatively indistinguishable from the existing rooftop equipment that's already on the building. So again, very minimal visual impact.
So, I can't see
Sure. You want-
How wide would the units be? How much higher than the existing rooftop would they be?
Sure. The units are sort of shaded in gray on the elevation view. You can see the two larger rectangles at the top of the building. I'll point them out. These are the fiberglass enclosure walls that sort of screen the antennas. There, those are 3 sectors along the perimeter, and then the equipment is located in the center of the roof and also is screened from view.
So the antennas themselves would be how much higher than how much higher than the existing rooftop?
So the antennas are all screened from view. That screening enclosure is 9 feet above the rooftop and about 7'6" above the parapet.
And there's an existing HVAC equipment that is taller than the screen walls, if you can show them to the board.
Mm-hmm.
So the existing HVAC equipment is about 12 feet above the roof, and our equipment is only about 9 feet.
You wouldn't happen to have any handouts that we could show to people in the audience, would you?
Absolutely.
Good. I would appreciate your disseminating those.
We have the plans, but I also have photo simulations that were filed with the application. I think that might be the better.
Okay.
Would you like me to hand them to the secretary?
Yeah.
And then here are also extra plan copies.
Okay.
And then just to get ahead, I also have hands out of the radio frequency justification report that show the services to be provided, if you'd like me to.
We have some people here in opposition. Could the people who have signed in opposition, Mr. Beck, Norak, and D'Agostino, could you raise your hands and could you possibly give those out to those people?
I'm sorry, the circular visual guards, those, I think there's 3 of them. Are those in existence already or they're to be put in? I can't hear you.
I can't see it.
So the circular structure is the existing building.
Right.
These 3 elements here are the locations where the antennas are to be placed. Those are not existing.
Non-existent.
Correct.
Okay.
We are proposing those.
Can you get that, Stephanie? Did you hear? Okay.
Unless there's any further questions for this engineer, I do have Verizon's radio frequency engineer just to discuss the need for the facility and the gap in service to be filled.
Fine.
Haven't seen a gap analysis in a long time.
This is a true cell phone coverage for telephone calls need. So yes, this is.
We used to see these a lot, though.
I understand.
Gap analysis, all that.
And sometimes now with the change in technology, it was more of a capacity need and some overlays. This is a pure gap analysis.
I was surprised the first time when they give us the gap analysis in like literally outdoors versus indoors, the outdoor signal or the indoor signal. I was shocked to find, oh, it goes, a quarter of a mile, and then, who knew? I thought they went for miles,
It depends. So we have a radio frequency engineer who can discuss it better than I can, but over the evolution of the technology, the length and distance that the technologies propagates has shrunk, as in you needed more capacity and higher densification of services. So yeah, there is going in the future with the upgrade of the technology, you actually are creating sometimes more gaps in the areas that were previously filled by a lesser technology.
It's counterintuitive, yeah.
Exactly. Martin, if you could swear in for the board.
No.
Name's Martin Levin, C-Squared Systems, 65 Dartmouth Drive, Auburn, New Hampshire, on behalf of Verizon Wireless.
And Martin, if you could just go over where the existing sites that are currently being provided service to this area?
Yes, you see on the
More into
yes, the
more
map
into
here
your
shows
microphone and louder.
the location of the proposed site and all of the existing sites, as you can see here along Long Beach Island there. And the distances to them, some The minimum distance to a nearby site is just over a mile away.
Could you just try to speak a little louder? And
Yes.
Can you
And
just repeat that for the board, Martin?
Yes.
The distance from this site to the existing sites?
the nearest existing sites are just over a mile away from the proposed site.
And then could you go through showing the gap in service?
Certainly. I'll go over to the whole thing over there.
I could with you.
The map here shows the distances. The next map shows the current levels of coverage. 80, the green is in vehicle coverage, the blue here is the higher level, green is the in-building coverage, and the blue is the in-vehicle coverage. And the white area is an area that currently does not have reliable coverage at those levels.
Okay, so just so I can't quite hear everything you're saying. So you're saying right now, the green is what coverage?
In-building coverage
The blue?
is in-vehicle coverage.
Okay, and that's without this tower, right?
Without this tower, this is the current
And the
existing.
white has no coverage or just
Not
spotty
reliable
coverage
coverage.
from?
It's below
Can't speak
below
at the
the level that we need to provide
Okay,
reliable.
we can't speak at the same time because she has to take it down. So the white is what coverage?
There's not reliable coverage in that area. It's below the coverage level for in-vehicle coverage.
And you're referring to only your provider, right?
Yes. Mhm. Okay. The proposed site. As we see here, we establish a very large area of in-building coverage and also some additional area of in-vehicle coverage. The placement of the site and the height of it fills in that gap just about perfectly. It's hard to imagine anything. It's a little on each side. It fits in extremely well in the gap in coverage.
I'm sorry, so in the blue, I know green and blue are different
Yes.
coverages,
Mhm.
but which one overlaps?
This is the proposed site here, East Atlantic Beach 2, is the gold star.
But for example, in the blue, is there car and in-building?
Yes.
So that one
I'm
overlaps.
sorry, yes, the in-building coverage level includes areas, they are higher than in-vehicle coverage, so those areas have both levels.
So dark blue has both.
Good, correct for the
Green
record.
has both.
Okay.
Sorry.
Green has in-building and in-vehicle.
Vehicle, yes. Blue has
Blue has what?
just in vehicle. And the white areas, there's one residual white area that is below the threshold and doesn't have reliable coverage after the proposed site's built.
So why wouldn't you be putting in a tower that had also in-vehicle and in-building in the blue section?
In this particular instance, we have an area that is trying to use an existing structure. The existing structure almost completely fills, offers no visual impact to the community. All the other sites that we have along Long Beach, the ones you saw in the other plot, are all rooftops. This is a rooftop, so we have no towers in Long Beach. Everything is built on existing facilities.
Wait, so in the blue area,
Yes.
what coverage is there?
The blue indicates areas that have coverage at the in-vehicle level.
So in
But
that
not-
blue area, there's no coverage in the buildings?
It wouldn't establish what we refer to as in-building coverage.
So why wouldn't you put in a tower that provided both?
So the answer I think Martin will get to is that would have required a cell tower. So this is the coverage that we are able to provide without needing a new structure. So we're trying to use what is in existence. The town code strongly encourages that we provide the minimum reliable service as well as using existing structures. So pursuant to the town code, this does. And I know Martin is saying that this is the blue doesn't do in-building. It's the signal strength isn't to the level enough where it's reliable in building coverage. There may be some in-building coverage in those areas, but the idea is that white areas we're really trying to turn into a colored area. We're trying to fill in the gap where they have no reliable service.
So do you anticipate then you're going to come back for another tower in I get you're trying to make them as least impact aesthetically as possible. So generally speaking, would you be done with that area? Would you be looking for another site to get another small tower or whatever so that you can finish up having full coverage in vehicle and in the building?
So this is a little bit speculation. So there's different technologies that could be used. So you might not need a cell tower. You may be able to get away with a distributed antenna system where they put the antennas on top of telephone poles. There may be, what?
That DAT
Yeah, distributed antenna system, small cells. You have a new wireless ordinance for that. There's, as you noticed on the map, there's a gap a little bit to the north as well. I'm not sure if there might be another facility in that area that may then cover that other area to the south. It's really speculative at this point, but absolutely, I think they would eventually try to fill in that gap. But any application to fill in that gap would have to come through the Board of Appeals process.
Okay. Any other questions of this gentleman before we hear the next witness? If there are any more?
This is our last witness. We would like to hear from the public.
Okay. We have some people signed in opposition. Would you like to address the board? We have Evan Beck. Would you like to speak, Mr. Beck?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Evan Beck, and I live directly across the street at 1376 Beach Street, Atlantic Beach. And I'm here with several of my neighbors. I wanted to speak in strong opposition to the proposal of wireless antennas, or whatever they're being referred to as, on the rooftop location. I have a few reasons for my objections. The first is negative impact on property values. Numerous studies and anecdotal evidence suggest that the presence of visible towers or antennas can lower nearby property values. I see that there are some shots from a distance of the sands, but I can't tell that the arrows that are pointing, are those what's already existing that it's going to tuck behind, or are those what the towers are going to look like? And if that is what the towers are going to look like, it looks like they're quite visible. Prospective buyers of our homes are often deterred by aesthetic concerns or fears, whether they're founded or not, about health effects of radio frequencies. And as a homeowner, I'm very concerned about that the installation will reduce the value of our homes in the area, imposing unfair economic burdens on the residents. Second is aesthetics. Anything I've seen is visually intrusive. And it just doesn't align with the character of a beach community. It's a coastal area with ocean views, and community aesthetics are part of what make it a desirable place to live. And adding industrial equipment to a rooftop in such a visible location disrupts the architectural integrity and the scenic quality of the neighborhood. As far as health risks, while I know that the telecommunications industry often cites compliance with federal safety standards, there is obviously ongoing debate and growing public concern about the long-term exposure to radiation, especially when the antennas are in close proximity to residences. The antennas are going to be operating 24/7, feet away from where people live, sleep, raise their families, and until there's more definitive research, I think we should err on the side of caution. I've heard a lot about demonstrable coverage gaps. I don't think there's a closer home to these antennas than my home. I have Verizon, and I have not experienced a drop call in the 10 years that I've had the service, and I live directly across the street. So certainly the coverage gap is not demonstrable by my personal experience. The location is just steps away from the ocean. Coastal environments are sensitive, they're scenic, they're in high demand for their natural beauty. It's an inappropriate place for infrastructure that could degrade the environmental quality and community enjoyment of the area. There are more suitable locations, and I think those should be considered first. And in closing, I don't think it's in the best interest of the community. I think it's unnecessary, it's intrusive, and obviously potentially harmful, and it prioritizes corporate convenience over neighborhood well-being. And I respectfully urge all of you to vote against it or to have it relocated to a more appropriate location.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You,
Would you mind flipping that back to the GAP page? Sure. So this gentleman is in the GAP, yeah.
Correct.
Mr. and Mrs. Norak. 1400 Beach Street. Would you like to, you signed in opposition, would you like to speak? Come up.
What's this guy's name?
Norak, N-O-R-A-C-K, I believe. Yep.
Could it be Novak? No.
I don't know. Norak, looks like N-O-R.
Michael Novak,
Oh, it is
1400
Novak.
Beach
Okay.
Street, Atlantic Beach. I have concerns about the natural gas generator. When will it work? How long will it work? And how many ohms of noise are generated by that generator that feeds the power to these units? And second, the view of the screens are shown lower than the AC units. But the AC units that are on the roof of the Sands right now are really not visible. But these screens are. So there's something off in that planning, in that view. And, you know, I think there's a lot going on at the Sands. Tremendous amount of cars, tremendous amount, the front of the Sands with all the lights and everything that's going on there is prohibitive to living across from it. I live directly across from the entrance.
Sir, why don't we ask this gentleman to answer your first question so we can address them as they go, which is about the time and the length and the noise of the gas generator. If you could just.
Sure. I'm going to call up my engineer to discuss exactly that.
So the noise,
Sure.
often, I don't know if they're.
Yeah, this is a standby generator, natural gas fired, so there's no diesel tanks or refueling process. It's all, hard piped. The generator itself is there really for emergency purposes.
Try to keep speaking in the mic, so.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it would not be continuously operating. There's a once a week exercise cycle just for the maintenance of the generator.
How long?
An hour to an hour?
Yeah, if that, generally like 15 minutes of runtime.
And that can be scheduled to whatever the town would like. If we would like that for regular business hours, we can absolutely schedule that to be least impactful.
Yep.
And it's natural gas?
Natural gas, yep. So again, it really would be there generally for emergencies.
Is the sound going to be baffled?
It is in what's considered a level 2 acoustic.
Noise attenuation.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, a level 2 what?
acoustic enclosure. So this mitigates the decibel rating of the unit and helps keep the noise down. But it should be noted that this is going to be placed on a rooftop in the center of the rooftop. Probably at least 300 feet away from the nearest residential property line. So,
But also, I live on the ocean too.
yeah,
It's surprising how just talking at my house, my next neighbor, because of the airflow, it really does carry the sound. So number one, when you say it's level 2, I have no idea what that means relative to, because I have no idea how much the sound level is. Based on your expertise, this level 2 baffling, as you call it, is that sufficient? To what degree is that sufficient to block these sounds from, let's say, start with the parking lot and then across the street to these folks' homes?
sure. I mean, it generally sound dissipates over distance. So, and the analogy I always make is, you really only can detect audible sound levels when those sound levels are at levels above what we consider the ambient noise level. So in an area like this where you have traffic along the road, you have the noise from the rolling waves of the ocean, there's a fair amount of just ambient noise that occurs naturally. And those levels are typically around 45 decibels. So much like, the bottom of the surface of the water has undulating surfaces, it's only when, the land pierces above the water and you see an island that land is detectable, right? But there's all these sort of undulations that occur totally undetectable. So as long as the noise is below the ambient noise level, you're not going to detect it. And at a distance of 300 feet, this generator would never approach the ambient noise level. So,
And for
Yeah.
clarifications, just one point, for clarifications, the equipment is at least 377 feet from the street.
Okay, so you're saying that the noise generated by this, when it is just cycling for its maintenance each week, and/or when it's fully operating, is below the ambient noise level at most times. So if I was standing in the parking lot, just so I can understand, I'm standing in the parking lot and this thing cycles through its maintenance cycle for an hour, will I hear it?
again, it would be to be standing in the parking lot. You would be on the property of the Sands Club. What we're talking about is residential properties beyond. So it's conceivable that right next to the building in the parking lot, you might be able to hear it.
Okay, so now I moved to the edge of the property, but
Yeah,
still on it.
by the time
Will I
you
hear
get to that distance of 300-400 feet away, that level dissipates.
So I'm just asking you, if I'm standing on the edge of the property and it cycles, will I hear it?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, that's your expert opinion.
Yep.
So now I'm crossing the street, so your expert opinion, I assume, is that they probably won't ever hear.
Correct.
Thank you.
And just for a note, we did walk the site. The Sands Beach Club does have HVAC equipment on this rooftop that also has some similar level of noise, just for the air conditioner units and stuff like that. So that noise also helps to drown out the noise that would be caused by the generator.
During the summer, okay. Go
So
ahead.
it helps, but it just adds more noise. But there's more noise. And at night, when things are quiet, that's when we want to talk about it, not during the ambience of the day with cars and traffic and people. We're talking about in the evenings or at night. Does it resonate a lot of sound? And if so, what's the level? What's the songs?
Yeah, so again, 45 is probably the lower end of what would normally be considered ambient noise levels during the day when you have a lot of car traffic and, people on the beach and other sources of noise. Those levels could creep up closer to, 50 or 55 decibels. So, even in that worst case scenario at night at 45, we believe it's going to be less at the property line.
But this is only going to operate if what? The power otherwise goes out?
Correct. This is backup power supply. So this is only if there is a power failure, then the generator kicks in to make sure everybody's cell phone network still works. The only other time would be the cycling, as we discussed, which we would do during regular business hours. Absolutely, we're prohibited at night.
And your client will agree to a condition to that effect?
Absolutely. We'll agree to a condition to have cycling and testing being during regular business hours on weekdays.
Noon?
Sure.
Noon would be nice.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, sir.
Also, from my house, which is directly across the street, I don't see much of the air conditioning system. But yet in this plan, the screens are much higher and closer. So I don't know if that really conceals anything
Yeah, so
without being an eyesore.
yeah, I'll talk you through some of that. The Photoset simulation packet
Yes,
includes a map that shows
Hold on, do you have the packet?
I looked at the packet.
He was given,
includes a map that shows where various photos were taken from. Predominantly, the only locations where the site would be visible are those locations which are virtually directly across the street and nearby. So we're talking about views 3, 5, and 6, and I believe 4 also. So if you go to those locations, the first photo would be like Photo number 3 shows the existing. Photo simulation number 3 is the
Hold on.
proposed.
Christina, you don't have this in front of you, do you?
No, I don't.
Here, we'll give you one of ours so you
I
can
remember.
follow along. So
Yeah.
But, you know, I did a lot of work in Manhattan. And the law was that none of the equipment that you put on a rooftop, let's say a taxpayer structure, which would be 2 stories high, can be seen from the street. So it would have to be placed further back on the building.
Yeah.
How far are these going to be?
So while we were able to place the equipment for the radio cabinets close to the center of the roof, to your point, you know, that kind of helps with very close proximity to the building because of your viewing angle.
Right.
You know, it's very hard to see those structures. With the antennas, it's important to get the antennas at the edge of the roof so that the signal is not disrupted by the roof edge.
Use the mic a little bit.
Sure.
try to keep the mic close, so.
Sure, sorry.
How high is the parapet?
So the parapet's it varies about 1.5 to 2 feet. And then we are about 7.5 feet above that parapet, 9 feet above
10
the
feet
roof.
above the roof.
9 feet, yes. Yeah.
And
Some of those air conditioning units.
Excuse me?
It's not just screening, it's baffling,
Th-
right?
There's a difference. So he's talking about the screening for the antennas. Baffling, that's the noise attenuation for the generator. Just
No, I'm talking about the actual receivers or senders, whatever you're putting
the
up there.
antennas. Yes, the antennas that'll be at the edge of the rooftop, and we have a radio frequency engineer who's going to speak more to this. It's a line of sight technology. So the antennas have to get a direct line of sight to the area that's in the gap of service. So if we put it more centered on the rooftop, we'd have to raise them in height to be able to clear the rooftop for the signal. So they're located at the edges of the rooftop to reduce the height and also to make sure that we're propagating the signal to the area in need. So they are located at the edge. Unfortunately, we don't have invisible antennas yet. One day maybe we will and I'll be out of a job. But right now, the goal of the code is so that you don't see the antennas themselves. So the RF screen walls, you are going to see the RF screen walls. The goal of that is not that you wouldn't be able to see the screen walls, but that the screen walls conceal the antennas. So you're not seeing industrial or mechanical equipment. You're seeing architectural design that's similar to the building itself. It's to blend in.
So nothing that you will install will be above 9 feet over the existing rooftop. Is that correct?
Correct. The screen walls are covering the entire antenna structure and mounting structure.
And how high is, if you know, how high is the equipment for the air conditioning
It
of
varies.
the rooftop?
We believe the tallest structures, rooftop air conditioning units are about 12 feet above the roof.
That's not true.
It's,
You can barely see them from across the street, from my viewpoint. And in Manhattan, there's a criteria that it will not be visible from the street. Whatever you put on a
That's incorrect,
rooftop.
sir. I have several cell towers in Manhattan that are visible from the street. The
Hold on. You say it's not true that they're 12.
No, they're
Just
not.
because you can't see them
They're
doesn't
not
mean
12.
they're not. Like maybe they're further.
They
toward
are. They're
the water or
centrally
something,
located.
So they don't appear.
Well, I'm
Correct.
saying, these towers, these cell phone, whatever they are, what do you call them?
And
cellular antennas.
Antennas. They should be much further back and they shouldn't be visible from the street. They're too close to the edge and 12 feet above the roof, screens, diminishes
point-
the view of the ocean, the sky. It just
But he
doesn't work.
explained it. If they
I
scoot them
understand.
further back, they have to
Don't
make
get a
them
response.
taller so they don't have the obstruction.
I don't believe it. I don't believe that's true.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Who, me?
Yes.
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We have someone else, Mr. and Mrs. D'Agostino. Would you like to come up? No? They waved. Like to sum up, counsel?
Sure. Thank you for your time. With some of the first comments regarding RF health, we do submit a radio frequency emissions report. It shows under worst case scenarios. Sorry.
No, we have someone else who raised a hand.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Sure, absolutely.
Come on up so you can sign in, hon, and then we can have you tell us what you want us to know.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry for the delay. My name is Violet Rogers. I live directly across the street at 1416 Beach Street. I'm right in front of the Sands. And from what I'm understanding, the screen that they say that they put up to block the equipment is still a height that's going to be an eyesore, even though they feel is covering what they think we only feel is an eyesore. We also feel that the screen is an eyesore. And he was making mention to, as far as the noise concern, that, well, you could hear the waves or the people, but we're on the beach. We expect to hear the waves. That actually adds to the beauty of the area. And I bought that house because of the fact that the beauty of the area and the fact that I don't have to see things I would believe to see in the industrial area to impede on our views, and to say that the sound, he didn't sound like 100% sure about the sound to me. He said he doesn't believe it's a possibility that it's not going to be that high because of the distance. But then he brought in the waves. If we could hear the waves, and he's saying he was comparing it to the waves, then that means that's something that we would be able to hear, especially living directly across the street. And as far as the aesthetics of everything, we don't want that to put our value of our property down. Because it took me very long to purchase my home, and to purchase it and to have issues like this, I think is very unfair to me and my other neighbors. And we want to also make sure long-term that we will not be affected in a negative way. And we don't want to wait till 10 years down the line and find out it is a safety factor health-wise. So we really want to be able to have the opportunity to look into it further and have someone who can give us information other than the people who's voting and want to put it there. We need to speak to other people who have the same knowledge as they have, that can tell us the pros and cons from another side, as opposed to hearing one side. So that's basically what I wanted to bring up.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Would you like to sum up?
Thank you. Regarding some of the comments we heard today, specifically regarding RF Health, we do submit a radio frequency emissions report that confirms that the site will be compliant with the FCC rules and regulations regarding radio frequency emissions. For this site, under a worst case scenario, max operations, max power, it would be 33.2% of the FCC's population limit. So therefore, we're still well within the threshold range. As this board may know from past applications, the topic of radio frequency health is a preempted topic. Once the applicant shows that we're compliant with the FCC's rules and regulations regarding RF health exposure, this board is not allowed to base its decision on perceived impacts of RF health. Regarding some comments regarding the industrial nature of the look, we do take objection to that. We do feel that we proposed an architectural design that is in keeping with the architectural components of the building, that the screen walls do a good job of reducing the noticeability of the facility, and also do help blend in with the architectural components of the building. Other than that, we do respectfully request that this board grant the special permit, as the applicant has put forth an application that's compliant with the town code's criteria.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in on the case will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you all for coming and participating.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you so much for your time.
Next, we'll be calling case 52825, East Meadow, Southbury Partners LLC. A, special exception for place of public assembly and amusement for proposed gym, Planet Fitness. B, special exception for proposed expansion of existing used car sales, CarMax. C, special exception for proposed drive-through window in conjunction with proposed restaurant. D, variance in off-street parking. E, variance for less than required shade trees, also known as 2000 Hempstead Turnpike. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Please state your name and address to the record.
My word.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. William Bonesso for Celli, Deegan, Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, here on behalf of the applicant. The applicant is the owner of the parcel of property that is the subject of the hearing today, situated in East Meadow. The commonly known address for the property is 2000 Hempstead Turnpike. This is for those who aren't familiar with it, this is the former Home Depot site in East Meadow that was removed some time ago and developed in part with a CarMax used automotive sales facility. There's additional space and structures on the property that have not been occupied. There's a former Modell's that is closed, and that building is part of the project that's before this board today, and I'll get into that in just a moment. Seated to my right is Mr. Ethan Shukoski. Ethan is a professional engineer with TPD Engineering, DPC. Ethan has been recognized by this board on numerous occasions as a traffic expert and permitted to provide expert opinion testimony in the areas of parking and traffic, and we would ask that he be permitted to do so again today when we get to his testimony. It's my intention to present this case with myself and Ethan, but the board should know that with us also today are numerous people who are supporting this project. The principal, the applicant, one of the principals is here, Mark Saglioka. He's here on behalf of the property owner. In addition to that, we have representatives from CarMax who can answer any questions that the board may have that I can't answer. We have a representative of the proposed Dunkin' Donuts that is going to take over take on the drive-through. Mr. Joe Dazzo, he owns and operates the franchise that is presently just to the east of this site. And from what I understand, he's been there for, I believe, 39 years. He's going to be moving to the drive-through restaurant that is proposed for the site. And then we also have a representative here from Planet Fitness who can testify over and above what I will provide the board in terms of information pertaining to that proposed use and occupancy or reoccupancy of the former Modell's building. I'm going to hand up to the board, just for the sake of context, a Google Maps photograph that I have marked up, just to give the board again some context as to what this site is and where it is and how it's presently improved. You'll see my handwritten notes on it. The circle, basically outlined in red, is the subject property. You'll see just to the north of that, some clouded areas. That is what is known as the quote-unquote marginal roadway, but it's actually owned by the town of Hempstead. In that area is improved with parking, actually 75 parking spaces that we do not count as part of our project because it's not our property. Be that as it may, it has been in this shopping center and in this area for years, and it's always been accessible and usable for parking. It's been striped by the town of Hempstead for that very purpose.
In your presentation, when you give us your parking analysis, you will not be including that.
Correct.
Other than
its availability, correct.
Not in your calculation.
Correct. you'll see where the present Dunkin' Donuts site is in the upper right area, just off our property. You'll see the proposed Planet Fitness, which is the former Modell's building. And then just again, for context, this site the board is familiar with because just to the west is the Regency property that Regency Centers bought and has unified based upon approvals issued by this board earlier this year, which will permit both the Stu Leonard's and the East Meadow Plaza to be unified as one shopping center with a pass-through driveway that goes from north to south. So whereas that project really kind of redevelops that, and we think is going to be a significant improvement for a number of different reasons. This site too is going to be a substantial improvement, or this project is going to be a substantial improvement to the present site, both aesthetically and from a circulation standpoint. And we also are benefited by the fact that Ethan, who was the traffic expert on the Regency project, is fully familiar with how the site circulation will work on our site and between the sites, so he's uniquely qualified to testify in that regard.
Mr. Nesso.
Yes.
So you're not proposing building any structures, right?
We are.
Where?
We are. I'm going to get into that right now, Ms. D'Amato.
I'm trying to follow it. I'm trying to color them on my.
No problem.
Radio.
So let me go through what we are proposing. First, the CarMax. The CarMax is existing. Presently, it's a one-story masonry building. As built, it is 10,285 square feet in size. That building is proposed to be expanded by 2,423 square feet on its easterly side. That is the only building addition that will be added. Now, that building has already, or that operation, the CarMax operation and building has already received not only from this board, but the town board special exceptions. This board, back when the CarMax was introduced, issued a special exception for used automotive sales, and that's what still operates, that's still operating on the property.
Vanessa, just out of curiosity, we all think of CarMax as the online thing like Carvana, sorry, any CarMax people, but what do they actually do here? They're actually having physical vehicles?
Oh, yeah.
Doing a brick and mortar?
Yes, they have. This is a brick and mortar sales and service and maintenance center. What you see to the north and east of the building, which is striped, is all display area for their inventory. All the vehicles that are ready for sale have been brought in, prepared for sale, and our inventory are in that area where it's striped.
Wait, so you're not counting that as part of the
We are.
parking available for retail customers?
It's not available for retail customers, but we have to calculate that area as part of our parking requirement. And that's why, as you'll hear in a moment, we have a large parking variance necessary here that is really, if you will, a phantom parking variance, because they make us park for the parked cars.
Right, but if you're just in an elementary way, if we're trying to talk about the parking that you should have for all these businesses and that you are providing, usually those are spots that may be available for customers. And if you're storing vehicles there.
CarMax is a very unique operation. They completely separate their display areas from their customer and employee parking areas. They don't mix. If you go to the site today, you'll see that it is enclosed. It's an enclosed area with a fence and landscaping, low landscaping, so the cars are still visible. It is a display area, but that is strictly for display of inventory. The area to the east of that, which if you look at the site plan, shows a number of parking rows. That will be the parking area for the Starbucks and, for the CarMax employees and customers. And I can assure you that, as you'll hear from Mr. Shukoski, there's more than enough parking available to accommodate both.
Right, so where you're storing vehicles, you're not counting as part of your parking.
not as parking for customers or
That's what I
employees.
said.
Right.
My
But we did have to calculate those areas for our parking requirement,
Oh,
which
sure.
is why we're providing on the entire site, we're providing 298 parking stalls. We're required under the code to have 513 parking stalls. Of those 513 parking stalls required, 345 stalls are required for CarMax. But the key element there is that of the 345 parking stalls required for CarMax, a full 315 of those required spaces are comprised of the display area and then the staging, or what we label on the site plan as the expanded work in progress areas. And the areas of the work in progress area, there's one existing area that is presently there just to the south of the building, and then there's a new proposed area, which is space that CarMax is now leasing from the property owner. Those areas, they call them work in progress areas or staging areas. They are used for taking deliveries. They're used for prepping vehicles for display, to go onto display, or if a vehicle has been sold, cars are taken there to do work on them and prepare them for delivery. So they are kind of a mixed bag of activities that occur in those areas, but they don't involve customer parking and they don't involve display. So it really covers all the other things. And as Mrs. D'Amato noted, they are not used for customer parking or employee parking. That we have separate areas for. So, but because we are taking on more space for that staging and because we're adding to the building, we need this board to issue a new special exception for the expanded automotive, used automotive activities. We do not need, and this was confirmed by the town attorney's office when this application was first filed and discussed with the building department, we do not need to modify the special exception that was issued for the public garage. That covers our service center and it covers our car wash building. Neither of those are changing in size or activities. The location of it is changing in the building, but it's not getting bigger. They're not providing any new services or more intense services. So consequently, it was determined that we do not need any relief from the town board for this. So we're strictly here before this board for the special exception for the expanded used automotive sales activity, both in the building and on the new space. So that pretty much covers the CarMax. The other relief that's required is a special exception for a place of public assembly and amusement for a proposed gym. That is the Planet Fitness that is proposed to take over the former Modell's building, and I'll get into that for just a moment. Will also be, in terms of the overall parking variance, that'll be spoken as part and parcel to by Mr. Shukowski when we get to him. The next relief required special exception for a proposed drive-through window in conjunction with the proposed restaurant. That proposed restaurant is the Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins that is going to move from, if you look at the photograph I submitted, that building up in the northeast corner of the photo, that is going to be occupying the 1,800 square foot drive-through restaurant. And as you'll hear from Mr. Shukowski, it's actually a good use for this site because its activity will be busy in the morning, whereas the activities for the CarMax take on much more activity later in the day. And if you even consider the Regency to the west, you have a Shake Shack drive-through, which will be lunch and dinner. This will be its greatest activity will take place in the morning, so it's a very complementary use. Then we have the overall parking variance for the entire site. And then the last item of relief is a variance for less than the required number of shade trees. Based on the code, we're required to provide 12 shade trees. I'm sorry, one tree per every 25 stalls. We are providing 22 shade trees, but we are required to provide more because of all the striped spaces in the display area. But it would be counterintuitive to put trees in the display area because they would just, A, hide the vehicles that are there for display, and they would also, put sap and the like on these cars that are out there for sale. So that's the last item of relief we're asking for. That said, we are adding shade trees to the north. We are adding substantial trees to the south along and around Front Street, and the site will be overall beautified in the way of additional landscaping. And my client and I'll get into this at the end of the presentation, in our meetings with SEMCO, the Community of East Meadow Civic Organizations, my client, the principal of the property owner, has agreed to work with them on putting more trees, particularly along Hempstead Turnpike. So all that being said, that's the relief being requested. Those are the areas that we need to address. Before I get to Mr. Shukoski, I'll just go through I've gone through the CarMax. CarMax, as you know, is existing. The operation is not changing in any way, shape, or form, but for the increased sales area and the increased staging area. Everything else will stay the same in terms of hours of operations, the way they take deliveries, and so on and so forth. In terms of the Planet Fitness is a national company. They call themselves a 24/7 fitness operation. That's only partially true. The 24/7 operation is actually intended to only operate like that during the weekdays. The facility's open. It opens at 5 a.m. on Monday morning, and then it's open 24 hours through Friday at 10 p.m. On Saturdays and Sundays, the gym will be open only from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Then once Monday comes again, they go for 24 hours. They're the busiest times, as you would imagine with most fitness centers, the busiest times for facilities will be early morning and late afternoon and evenings. Again, a good complement to the CarMax, which sees its busy time throughout the days, particularly on Saturdays during the middle afternoons and Sundays as well. According to Planet Fitness, the peak times for members to be present are from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. during the weekdays. On weekends, the peak times will be 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. During those times, it's expected that 35 to 50 members check into the facility per hour. The average time there for a member is about 45 minutes. The Planet Fitness is not an employee-intensive use. They would have a total number of employees of about 12 to 14 people split between 3 shifts, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., and 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on those times when they are open past 9 p.m. They do not offer trainers or independent independent trainers who work one-on-one with people. They don't have classes. What they offer is basically just machines and equipment for people to use. So the average customer, I'm told, arrives and spends about 45 minutes there. They come to the gym, they use the gym, they leave. Some will shower, most do not, but they do have shower facilities on site. Deliveries are also relatively few. The drinks sold at the facility are supplied by Pepsi, and deliveries occur once a week. Office and cleaning supplies are supplied by Staples and come every other week. And branded retail items like hats, shirts, bags, etc. from Planet Fitness are delivered by FedEx every other week. They all come via box trucks. They don't use tractor trailers. They occur during regular business hours and occur through the front door, not via a loading dock. So that addresses the operation of the Planet Fitness. And then before turning to Mr. Shukoski, the last item to cover is the Dunkin' Donuts. As referenced, Mr. Dazzo, who will be taking the pad site with the drive-through has been operating the existing Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins for, I believe, some 39 years. The first 8 or 9 years, it was a Mr. Donut, and then Dunkin' Donuts bought Mr. Donut, so it became a Dunkin' Donuts, and it's been a Dunkin' Donuts and Baskin Robbins for some time. So he's very well versed and very experienced in the operation for Dunkin' Donuts. Obviously, a drive-through for Dunkin' Donuts, it's going to have its busiest times between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. I'm told on Saturdays and Sundays that'll extend further into the day, probably 7 a.m. to 4 o'clock on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays. The drive-through will make up about 70% of the business, which makes sense because you don't have a lot of people going in and sitting down for long, certainly not for long periods of time in Dunkin' Donuts. Most of their service is in and out customers, so the drive-through is very well suited for them, and that puts very low demand for parking. They intend to operate 24 hours a day, and that's not uncommon for Dunkin' Donuts, particularly in shopping centers. This is not adjacent to or near any residential properties, so that a speaker would cause a problem or anything like that. So that is not perceived to be any kind of issue. Overall, the site will typically generate 30 jobs. 50-50 full-time, part-time. During the busy hours of the morning, they might have 6 to 7 employees present, but the rest of the day, they'll have 3 to 4 present. Deliveries, they get 2 deliveries a week. Typically, Dunkin' Donuts gets 2 deliveries a week, typically Tuesdays and Fridays, and those occur typically around between 6 and 7 a.m., take about an hour, and then the Baskin Robbins gets 1 delivery every 3 weeks in the afternoon, and that takes about an hour. They do come in tractor trailers, but there is sufficient maneuvering and operations in the site. Again, this is not next to or near residences that they're going to hear a tractor trailer pulling in or pulling out. And then there'll be private carting to provide refuse pickup. So that being said, that gives you an overview of the 3 uses, the 1 existing, the 2 new uses. If the board has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or call up somebody from the various businesses that can answer it. Yes, Mrs. Adams.
Right, I just have a question. It says proposed screen wall. What is that?
Proposed what? I'm sorry?
Proposed screen wall?
Oh, yes, that work in progress area is going to have a wall around it so that it's separated from the passenger or the customer parking and the employee parking. It's an area that is strictly set aside for activities by employees. So that'll be an enclosed area.
For what, though?
For vehicle deliveries, for preparation of vehicles, for sales. Sometimes a car that's already sold, now they'll take it there and they'll prep it for it.
So it's kind of connection with CarMax.
Oh, it's totally in connection with CarMax. Okay. Yeah, it's only for CarMax. And in fact, one of the things I should have pointed out, and you just reminded me, right now, if you look at the photograph, you can see that cars can enter from Front Street and go straight up through the middle of the site and go up to that driveway, if you will, that roadway that leads to the exit out onto Hempstead Turnpike. That is going to actually be closed because on the south end, because CarMax is going to control that area. There will still be access for vehicles wanting to go from Front Street to Hempstead Turnpike without going out to the intersection at Front and Hempstead Turnpike. There's a driveway that runs around the perimeter of the property that is kept open. It's two-way. It's wide enough for emergency vehicles to make turns. But when we met with the fire department about this project and we told them that that was going to be closed off, they said, we want to be able to get up as fast as we can if we need to. So we met with the fire department. The applicant redesigned that space to provide emergency access. The plan that I believe you have presently shows bollards, but I think during site plan review, that's going to be changed to gates, swinging gate. But be that as it may, it has been reviewed and approved by the East Meadow Fire Department in terms of how that access will take place. So it'll actually reduce the kind of cars that go up and down in that area and make it a little bit, I would think, and Mr. Shukovsky can opine on it, make it a little bit safer for cars that are parking in that area, not having a pass-through going through the way it was. But getting back to your original question, that area to the west, which indicates the proposed screen wall, that is part of the CarMax project.
How many structures are on the premises?
How many will there be or are presently?
How many now? How many?
Okay. Right now, there's the existing one-story CarMax masonry building. There is an existing one-story car wash masonry building associated with the CarMax that was approved by the town board under the public garage approval.
Wait, is that connected to that one?
No, you can see it on the site plan. It's lightly printed. It's 18 by 51. It's, do you want me to show you?
Just tell me north, south, east, west.
South of the building.
South of the building. It's right here.
Oh, wow. I did not see that.
Yes, it's lightly printed.
Okay, keep going. How many are there and what will be? Keep going.
So those are the two structures for CarMax. The only other thing presently on the property is the Modell's building. That will be taken over by Planet Fitness. And then there'll be an 1,850 square foot with a 500 square foot basement, but an 1,800 square foot pad site, which if you look in the upper left of the site plan, that will be the Dunkin' Donuts, and that has the drive-through. Yeah, tenant B, exactly. That building is as of right, but for the drive-through. The drive-through requires a special permit from the board.
As of right, not yet constructed.
Correct.
Okay, so that area, I think it's the same one Ms. Adams was asking. Sorry. I think it was what Ms. Adams was asking about, and it says expanded work in progress. It was unclear from both the Google and that because there was no striping on it for parking.
Right.
That's going to be a walled-off area to be used in conjunction with CarMax?
Yes, entirely only for CarMax. It is used as their staging or work in progress area for sometimes they'll get deliveries there. Sometimes they will do car prep there. Sometimes they'll take cars that have been sold and prep them for delivery. Other times cars that have been delivered and prep them for display, so on and so forth.
So
but it's not for display and it's not for parking of customers or employees.
So if you don't mind me asking, does the CarMax entity own the property?
No, they're leasing it from the applicant, Salisbury.
So for the most part, other than the Dunkin' Donuts and the Planet Fitness, this is pretty much a CarMax. Everything else is related, most of this.
Yeah, the majority of the site, of the overall 10-acre site will be leased to CarMax. It is presently right now, about half of it is leased to CarMax. After this, assuming this gets approved and CarMax takes on that additional space, it'll be I'd say about 65% of the property will belong to CarMax.
And you couldn't do the trees on the islands as is the code, but if I understood you correctly, you intend to plant that requisite amount of shade trees, but just in other areas like around the perimeter, et cetera.
Correct. They're not in the display area, which is where they would be required under the code, because it's striped areas. but you don't want to put the trees there because it makes the cars hard to see. And because this property, again, that marginal road creates a separation between pass-by traffic on Hempstead Turnpike and the display area, so it's not as visible. They don't want anything else hiding the cars from view for potential customers. So that's my overview. If the board has any other questions, like I said, I'll answer them or I'll call up people. Otherwise, I'll have Mr. Shukowski provide his testimony in connection with the parking variances, the operation of the drive-through, and anything else that the board might want covered.
Good afternoon. Ethan Shukowski, TPD Engineering, 275 Broader Hollow Road, Melville, New York.
Mr. Tchaikovsky, if I'm saying it correctly,
You got it.
have you previously been qualified by this board as a traffic expert, traffic and parking?
Yes, I have.
And have any of your qualifications changed since the last time you were qualified by the board?
No, they have not.
Okay, so we will again qualify you to testify as to traffic and parking. You may proceed.
Thank you. I will try to be concise with my testimony. Mr. Vanessa covered a lot here, so.
Real quick, did you give us a report? I want to follow along.
Correct. We prepared a parking accumulation study dated August 28th, 2025. I believe that was submitted ahead of time.
You should have a copy. I can give you another copy.
Give her a copy.
Did you bring in copies?
I'm sorry, no, I didn't.
TPD?
Yes, correct.
We have it.
Formerly Atlantic Traffic.
Here, Chairman gets that copy.
Good. Take that copy.
So we did prepare the parking accumulation study dated August 28th, 2025. I will also note, as Mr. Bonesso previously noted, we prepared the study for the Regency Center, East Meadow Plaza to the west. I presented that at this board earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
That was a traffic impact analysis. My office also prepared the traffic study for the CarMax application back in 2018 when it was being converted from the former Home Depot site. Just on that note, I just wanted to give some history of the site here and in the prior uses therein. I mean, it was occupied by an 84,000 square foot Home Depot and about 22,000 square foot Modelo Sporting Goods. Around 2022, after all the approvals were obtained, the CarMax replaced that Home Depot site, and around that same time, maybe a little bit earlier, the Modelo's also closed. It's been partially occupied by Spirit Halloween for a couple of months a year, but otherwise vacant to my knowledge. Access is provided via two driveways along eastbound Hempstead Turnpike, one right in, right out driveway on the northwest side of the site, and one signalized site driveway, basically just north of the CarMax. There's also a driveway along southbound Front Street on the south side of the site, on the very south corner there. There's also cross access with, as was mentioned, with the East Meadow Plaza Shopping Center to the west, and some additional retail, the existing Dunkin' to the east. Yeah, it was mentioned that they're going to construct the new Dunkin' Donuts building. We noted that the proposed drive-through lane would provide a 9-vehicle queue before possibly impacting any circulation on site, and it looks like you could fit about 3 or 4 additional cars before impacting the circulation lane for Planet Fitness, and you're pretty far away from Hempstead Turnpike. You're probably about 30 cars before you're even going to impact Hempstead Turnpike. I'll talk a little bit more about the typical demand we see with Dunkin', but essentially there's more than enough queue to satisfy demand for these types of Dunkin' sites. It was mentioned earlier, but there's a significant requirement drawn from the outdoor storage and staging areas. A total of 315 of the required 513 stalls for the overall site are due to those storage areas. I'll get a little bit more into my parking testimony in a minute, but I just wanted to note that that was a significant portion of the parking requirement for this site. Just briefly, I do believe that these uses do complement the center, not only the CarMax, which typically peaks more of a Saturday peak hour, sometimes weekday peak hour near lunchtime, whereas the Dunkin' is obviously going to peak in the morning peak hour, morning rush hours, and the Planet Fitness is early morning, sort of evening peak time. So that complements the CarMax. But in terms of the overall center, if you look to the west, which is a different site, but it's all interconnected, if you're familiar with the site, and if you're looking at the aerial that Mr. Bonesso showed, that East Meadow Plaza, it doesn't have many early morning uses in there. There's one small boutique sort of coffee shop, about 660 square feet, and then the proposed Shake Shack that's going to be going in there, they don't offer breakfast. So just in terms of the uses of that center, there's not a lot of strong demand for those early morning, the commuter peak hour. So the addition of the Dunkin' is really complementary there. In addition, it's also a relocation of the Dunkin' just east of the site. So we don't expect a significant impact to traffic on Hempstead.
Well, so at that East Meadow Plaza, there's a Shake Shack going in.
Correct. That was an application earlier this year that was presented.
What does Burger City think about that?
Well, Burger City actually caused us to be adjourned for 2 months. Back,
yeah, I'm not
if
sure.
If you recall, the Burger City gentleman came to the hearing and asked a lot of questions and said he said he wasn't opposed, but nonetheless he had a lot of negative questions. But be that as it may, the project was approved, I think rightly so, by this board.
Additionally, there's no other gym in that East Meadow Plaza or the Stu Leonard's Plaza to the south of that. There is a small Pilates, fitness, and a dance studio, but nothing like what we're proposing here. So I just point that out to say I think it's complementary to the overall center, both the East Meadow Plaza and this CarMax center here. We did do a parking study at the site. We counted the overall site. So we counted both the custom parking areas, we counted the show areas, we counted the Hempstead, town of Hempstead parking along Hempstead Turnpike. When we looked at the actual demand on the site, we only focused in on those sections that were customer parking. So we wanted to understand how occupied, so to speak, the entire center is. But when we looked at maximum observed parking demand of customers and employees of the CarMax, we only looked at those designated customer employee parking areas.
In your analysis, I assume you didn't include the town of Hempstead in what you have. That's part of your, here's how we'll fill the gap, right?
Correct. I did, we counted it to know how occupied it was, but we didn't include it in our demand or calculations or, yep. So we used an observed parking rate of the CarMax for the customers and employees, and we projected an increase in parking demand due to the increase of the size of the building. I'm sorry, I have notes a little bit separate here. Let me, if you go to page 3 of 9. If you look at table 2, we looked at the observed parking demand just of those customer and employee parking areas, excluding the town of Hempstead parking. And then table 2 on page 3, and then if you go to table 3 on page 4, we used the Institute of Transportation Engineers parking data. That's the industry standard for calculating parking demand for any given use. We projected the demand for the weekday peak periods for the fitness center and the drive-thru restaurant. We then kind of pulled all that together to calculate and if you look at table 4 in my report, we pulled all that data together to come up with a projected peak demand of 242 parking stalls, or about 81% of the designated parking supply. So that would leave a reserve capacity of about 19%.
Was that maximum percentage occupancy, when you did those, you were not including, that was only the lots that are yours, not including?
Not including any of the storage lots and not including the town of Hempstead Park.
Right.
So for the proposed supply, we find that there's sufficient parking. And then when we looked at the town parking area, we found that parking, those parking stalls, about 80 parking stalls along Hempstead Turnpike that are on the town property, we found a maximum parking demand of only 14 in that area. So it's only about 17% occupied. So there was plenty of overflow parking in that area as well. While not noted in this report, I'll also note that based on our study at the East Meadow Plaza, we found that, once the Shake Shack is constructed and the development there is complete, we're projecting a peak parking demand of about 72% of that center, which would leave a reserve capacity of 314 stalls. And I just point that out to say, not only do we think that there's sufficient parking based on our observations at this site and calculations of future demand, but there's also overflow parking on the town parking along Hempstead Turnpike and in the East Meadow Plaza, which is interconnected to the west.
So I just so table 1 is your observed existing parking demand, and that goes around 35%. Then table 2 is the parking rates, which is, I assume, a translation into percentages of that. And then table 3 is the ITE predictions, right?
Correct.
And then table 4 is the projected. So on table 4, for example, CarMax has I assume that's the projected max occupancy of 83, right? So how do I so am I to understand, like, right now, the observed parking demand in that area is 33 to 35, right? On table 1. But once you calculate what you expect to happen, once the Dunkin' Donuts is in and the Planet Fitness opens and the CarMax is functioning as the way it's planning to function in the future, that's how we get from the 35 to what we project will be 85, 83, 81. Is that
Correct.
Am I understanding?
Yes,
correct?
you are. So, in summary, we're projecting that the parking supply that's provided on site is sufficient to accommodate customers and employees. But as I just mentioned, I just also wanted to note that there's also overflow parking in those town lots and the East Meadow Plaza to the west.
And this parking, when you do that table 4, which is kind of like, I think it brings it all together, the parking supply, so CarMax says 144, Fitness says 154, and then 298 for total. That's the total number of spaces you have available in that whole lot.
The overall lot, correct. Yeah. So that wraps, unless there's more questions, that wraps my testimony.
Just one last thing.
Yep.
So that, all those predictions in table 4, you use the ITE, that's what you used to make the prediction. You didn't do a separate, whatever you guys do, right? That's when we get to the 81 to 83, 80 to 83, that's a function of what you see now, the ITE, and what will be there.
So we used IT for the new uses. So for the fitness center and for the Dunkin', we used ITE.
Okay.
For the expansion of the CarMax, we also projected a little bit of an increased demand due to the larger CarMax building.
So it's a compilation or a combination of ITE and your own assumptions about what it's going to look like and be then.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
There are no further questions of Mr. Shukoski. That pretty much is our direct presentation. I will indicate, I mentioned before, we did do a lot of due diligence on this prior to ever filing. We first met with the SEMCO board and showed them the plan. Then we met with the general population, general membership, I should say. present it to them, and I believe the president of SEMCO is here today, and he'll provide you a little bit of information on that meeting, but we feel it went very well. As noted, we met with the fire department to make sure that from their perspective, the site worked well, and I think, we've covered the bases. Carmex has been there for a while. They've been a good corporate neighbor. They're involved in they are typically involved in wherever they open, and it's no different here. But we think that this is a very good opportunity to take this site, which has been somewhat in limbo for some time, ever since the Home Depot closed, and I know there were a couple of different projects that one of which I represented for a grocery store in the area where right next to where the closed Modell's building is, there was going to be a grocery store. Never came to fruition, but that was approved by this board. This will now put the entire site into activity and put it back to business, if you will, by adding uses that are desirable and nevertheless will work on the site. So that's our direct presentation.
Okay. There being no one in opposition, I believe that.
Didn't know if Mr. Parisi wanted to speak.
Okay, come up. Parenthetical observation, I've never seen so many people who don't live in the immediate vicinity come out in favor of an application before.
They're all our consultants. They're all here. Those are the people I mentioned who can answer the questions. Other than Mr. Parisi and Ms. Rome, they live nearby.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Parisi. I'm the president of the Council of East Meadow Community Organizations. On June 17th of this year, we held a community meeting with most of the representatives that you see here in the room, and this project was presented to the community with the exact same level of detail. The project was well received. There were no objections raised at the community meeting. And one of the only areas of concern that I personally had was with respect to the landscaping, but I've received assurances that, and I understand the reason why the variance is necessary, and it makes great sense from a business point of view, so I'm quite all right with the reduction of the variance, with the reduction in the number of trees and the variance being requested, because I know that this will be taken care of along the other areas of this proposal. What I'd also like to state is that this project is very complementary and works very well with the Regency development, and it actually completes the entire site. It integrates very well, and it harmonizes the complete site, the Regency development, along with what Salisbury Associates and CarMax wants to do. And that is to the great benefit of the East Meadow community, because we'll have a lot more different amenities available to the community. What I also want to make you aware of is that they listened to us, because there was one part of the conversation which Mr. Bonesso alluded to, and that's the road that circles around, that comes in off Front Street and circles around the property. Now, believe it or not, that particular road is of particular interest to the community. They love it. They like the way it functions. It allows them to get from Front Street to Hempstead, and that is not going away. So that's to the great satisfaction of the community. I also need to tell you that we have personally experienced, when I mean personally, I mean the Council of East Meadow Community Organizations, also known as SEMCO. We had an issue with trucks parking illegally that were didn't even belong to CarMax. So working with CarMax Management and Salisbury Associates, they were able to resolve the problem for the community. In fact, going back to February of 2024, when we had the initial meeting about the Regency development project, all that the complaints came in were for these illegally parked trucks. So speaking with Mr. Bonesso and working with everybody involved, we were able to get that resolved. So I foresee a good working relationship with the community, and I think it's for all these reasons that I've stated. I respectfully ask the board to please grant the variances as requested, because I come from the perspective of the community and what's in the best interest of the community. And we truly believe, not only me as the president, but our SEMCO board believes that this is in the best interest of the East Meadow community. And I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other than that,
Anything
Nassau
else,
County,
Mr. Vanessa?
Nassau County Planning Commission recommended local determination. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Mr. Vanessa, hi. The parking lot itself of this big project, is it going to be repaved? Is it going to be remarked? Because the community seems to be very interested in the beautification of.
Yeah, you're going to see a total redo, if you will, of the parking area because of the modifications that are being made. So, yeah, that area in and around the Planet Fitness, the area to the north with the where the pad site will be for the drive-through restaurant, that's all got to be striped and repaved. And
It's going to get a facelift, nice facelift.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in on the matter will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second.
Thank you all. Have a nice day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We will take a short 10-minute break, and then we'll come back, I believe, and make some decisions.
Thank you, Joanne.
Broadway Holdings, LLC, renewal of grant to maintain a double face sign. Do I have any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, file number 512 of 25 Hewlett, 1150 Broadway Holdings LLC, doing business as Extra Space Storage, be granted as requested, 5 years, same conditions.
Second. Opposed. Next case, 5 Point Lookout, 143 Bayside Drive, Realty Code. With a fishing statement across the street. They made a request to have it permanent.
I think that's a reasonable request, given that it's on the same side of the street and it's just, he bought it, so it's become just a part of his property. So I don't see why we wouldn't.
What about because it's a residential neighborhood, you know, what if somebody could he be able to subdivide it by doing that, or?
Well, if he did, he'd have to come back before the board.
He'd have to come back,
Because
okay,
it's going to merge, so.
okay.
Right, somebody want to, so.
I'll make a motion.
Mrs.
I'll make a motion.
Butler?
I move the case 513 of 2025, affecting 143 Bayside Drive Co., affecting the property apparently on the corner of Lynbrook Avenue and Bayside Drive, be granted as requested on a permanent basis.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 514 of 2025 Belmore, Carlos Sanchez, CSB Home Improvement. This is renewal of grant to park in front yard setback hot dog truck. That's the catering.
We discussed someone inspecting that. I mean, I would do it, but I think it's better to refer it to Joe. That's his area.
All
But
right, JP.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, I did pull the old cards and the records, and the last time it was renewed was in 1999.
Okay.
And Becky found records seemingly indicated it had renewed once or twice. The thing is, this is a hot dog truck. The original picture we looked at was a small, looked like the thing in the city. There's a hot truck. Miss Adams, Miss Adam pulled up the current thing, and it's, you know, it's smaller than a box truck, but much bigger than it's large. So, and there's a driveway right where it's parking. So
We'll hold
even if it ends up park it away from whatever it is. So I think if we could
We'll hold it and
have
have
Mr. Pellegrini look at
Is
it.
this a residential area? This where the truck is parked, is it residential?
Well, it looks sort of industrial where this is, but I don't know what it technically is. But
Mr.
it
Pellegrini
definitely has to be looked at.
Mr. Pellegrini will look at it. 515 of 2025 West Hempstead. Nina Borsdina and Alexander Zurikon. Variance lot area occupied, construct a two-story addition, open below, which will remain open, attached to the dwelling. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I have a motion. I'll make a motion on 51525. Variance lot area occupied. We will grant it as long as they keep the area open.
There's a condition to keep
As
the
a
area
condition
below
to keep
open.
it open, yes.
All in favor? Any opposed? Case 516 of 2025 East Atlantic Beach. Mr. Boyce, Mrs. D'Amato is going to inspect that.
Yes, I need the papers because somehow I saved it.
With plans.
And if you wanted more, would you pull?
I just wanted, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say on that one that if you look at the Google Earth map, the man built his house like 40 feet back. Every other house is blocking the people's views anyway.
Yeah, Mrs. D'Amato will inspect with the plans. Case 517 of 2025 West Hempstead. Esther and Ehud Kadri. Variance lot area occupied, side yard aggregate, constructed two-story addition, second-story overhang, both attached to dwelling. Property address is 359 Jackson Avenue. Any questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 517 of 25 in West Hempstead, located at 359 Jackson Avenue, be approved as requested.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Case 518 of 2025 East Meadow. Patrick Maroney and Stephanie Torkelson, mother-daughter residence. That's located at 1779 and Grant Avenue. Any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
517?
518.
My bad. I move, Mr. Chairman, as it relates to case 518 of 2025 affecting the property at 1779 Grant Avenue, that the application be approved as requested with the usual mother-daughter conditions.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 519 of 2025, near Island Park, Joseph Brazil. Case has been adjourned to 12/3/25 at 11 a.m. And case 520 of 2025 in Merrick, Jane Matzel. That case has been adjourned to November 19th at 11 a.m. Next case is 521 of 2025 Baldwin. That's Matthew Hennig and Isabel Mendez. Variance side yard, maintain air conditioning unit attached to dwelling. Any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I move case 521 of 2025. Location of property is 476 Seaman Avenue in Baldwin be granted as requested.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Case 522 of 2025 in North Belmore, Christopher M. Hanlon and Amanda Ranner. I believe that someone is going to inspect that, so we will hold
I
it.
put Joe down for that.
So did I. We volunteered him in his absence.
Fabulous. Well, this is his area.
Case 523 through 526 inclusive, Atlantic Beach. Mr. Abramov, DBA 1518 Park Street LLC. A ton of different variances.
So I inspected this. From my opinion, I'm good with everything except the height. There's no reason for the height to be, 40 feet or whatever it is. The other variance is that the lot is a strange lot. It's not 60 by 100, and a lot of the reasons they need these variances is because of the odd shape of the lot. It's in a dead-end street. It's got a wide street, and that's my opinion.
I put a note here that I put no to the pool equipment with less than the required rear yard setback. But I feel like the reason I don't remember it being rear yard. I felt like the reason I put that was that it was in front yard or something. Is this a corner?
No, it's not a corner.
All right, I for some reason I thought I remember like the pool equipment is really close. I think it was less than 4 feet from it.
No, and then they have a living fence they have the attached to the house in the back, so nobody's gonna be able to see it, I
I
don't.
just felt like the pool equipment was so close to the street. That was actually, but I don't, so I'm fine with it. I agree, no on the height.
So we're going to deny case 523.
And I put condition as to pergola, that it not be further enclosed or any at all. Run with the land.
New home conditions as well,
Correct.
Okay.
so.
Second, somebody make that motion?
Make a motion on 523's
523 is height.
You're very popular today, John Grace.
He's like, this is over there, okay?
Not just today.
With new home conditions. And then 24 is going to be granted with condition that the pergola remain open.
Pergola is huge. It's 20 by 21.
And then
Run with the land.
25 and 26, I believe, are granted as requested.
And run with the land, Christine.
Pardon?
And run with the land, Christina.
What we're going to, thank you, but we're going to be, they do CNRs for these.
No, that's what I meant.
Make a motion on case 523 Atlantic Beach, Raphael Abramoff, be granted in part with new home conditions and denied as to the height. As far as 524, granted on the condition that the pergola remain open. And as far as case number 25 and 26, be granted as requested.
I second the motion.
I believe 523 is denied, period.
It's oh wait. But it looks like
Total.
that has the sides.
That's the height.
Yes, but it's also lot area occupied, front yard
So it's gonna be approved in part and denied as to the height.
Correct, so it's gonna be granted in part, denied in part, the portion.
No, you got it right.
With respect to the height variance is denied, everything else is gonna be granted. I'll throw in the little spiel about the FEMA 3 is not a true 3.
Yes.
And the open space, closed space, that it's really gonna be considered a 37% flat area occupied as opposed to
And the pergolas.
49.
But wait, is this the one that had a media room in the bottom?
I don't
Which
see
is supposed to
plans.
be FEMA, that's the other one.
And then, the pergola,
The
I'll
one that had
make
a
that as
coffee
a
bar.
condition as well to the home, that the pergola
No.
remains open and they will file CNRs with
There's one
respect
that looks
to
like if you were on the ocean
those
and you went
portions
up
of
high
the
and you took a
application.
picture of that.
Okay. Second?
Very useful.
Second, we got Mr. Grace? Yep.
Okay.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Case 404, what are we doing with that? We adjourned it to this afternoon. Satpal Singh apparently is the last owner of record.
Well, I was able to find the deed, and in 2021, so this would be after the last renewal, but prior to this renewal, it appears as though Mr. Singh sold the property to a Christopher Bittonini
Can I see that?
and a Mr. Elias. So I'm wondering if maybe even the order to appear, if it was addressed to Mr. Singh, they just ignored it.
No. The grantors were Christopher Bittanti and Mr. Elias, and Satpal Singh is the grantee. He owns it.
Okay.
Whether or not he lives there is a subject of discussion, but he's an owner. He's the owner.
So did he sell a portion of his interest?
He didn't sell any of it. That's the last deed of record. He appears to be the owner. However, the question about where he lives is an open item.
Then who are Mr.?
They were the grantors. They were the grantors in the deed. They sold it to him. Unless there is no life estate. There's no life estate in the deed. It's a bargain and sale with covenants.
So, I mean.
He's the owner.
Okay, so then.
Apparently, he's the owner.
How would you like us to proceed?
Since he failed to appear on 2 separate occasions, I would dismiss the case and send the building department out to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't control anyway. When was the last time he came in on that old Satpal?
You want to know something? I would try and get this Elmont address too.
Well, the funny part about it is the last time he came in for an extension or renewal was in what year?
Which one?
Well, she said it was like 1990 something.
Which,
oh wait,
that's
Satpal
the hot dog.
Singh.
No, I'm
No,
talking about
this
the
is
hot dog.
2019, I thought you just said.
I'm talking about Satpal Singh.
So, there would have been, if they did every 5 years, this document is dated after the last renewal.
Right.
So, let me just see if we've got,
We granted it to whom?
but, okay, so here we go. So, in 2012, let's make sure I have Mr. Singh here on all of them. I had a Tejada, Arnulfo and Nelly Tejada.
Were they the grantors? They weren't the
That was
grantors?
in 1946. The card was not updated until I have this, the newest card. It appears as though there was a renewal in 2012 and a renewal in 2017. And it appears as though Mr. Singh, based on this card, he's the only person on that card.
He didn't own
Most
it.
recent.
He didn't own it. How does he come up?
I don't
I
know.
have site plans, all of the neat is that folder.
So that's why I don't know if you want us to investigate a little further.
I want to dismiss the case. Dismiss the
Okay, no,
case
file.
and send in the building department.
Yeah, definitely, we have to send them.
All right, somebody want to make a motion on that case?
As it relates to case 404 of 2025, property is 99 Maplewood Street. Given the fact that There have been 2 hearings held for this matter. The applicant has failed to appear despite after the first failure to appear, the board had issued an order to appear, and the applicant still has failed to appear. I would move that this case be dismissed and that the building department be notified to go out and do an inspection and in-depth inspection.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. West Hempstead, case 1314 of 2025. West Hempstead, I want to hold that case. Case 527 of 2025, Atlantic Beach, New York, SMSA Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless. Any comments from the board? If not, can I have it? We're holding that. If not, do I have a motion? You know what? I want to hold that case because I want to go out and look at the locale. I'll visit it. Case 528. Yeah. Case 528 of 2025, A to E, East Meadow, Salisbury Partners LLC. Do I have any comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll move, Mr. Chairman, as it relates to case 528, 2025, A through E, that initially the board adopt a negative declaration as to the CEQA determination based on the prior information provided by the applicant, the information and evidence provided at the hearing, and other information provided us by experts related to the town.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion that we approve the requested relief. And as it relates to the shade trees, just a caveat that while the variance is because they're not putting them on the islands or wherever else the specific ordinance requires, he did represent to the board that there would be the same number and or more provided. And I'd just like a condition that that be the case.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Reserve.
Reserved.
We have one more that's adjourned.
Oh, Point Lookout,
428.
case 428 of 2025. That case has been
Why was it
adjourned to
adjourned again?
November 19th at 2 p.m.
Yeah, I think you guys adjourned. For some reason I didn't.
Here we go.
I want someone to rip my arms back because my back is so bad. I just need some.
Reserved.
I want to crank.
386, nothing. What do we have?
I have a couple of updates on the reserve calendar.
Yep.
Okay, so, the first case, 386 of 25, the initial plot plan was missing a brick retaining wall that surrounded the property. So the board asked that new plan be submitted showing all of the structures that are actually there.
That's a wall that runs a parallel to Lila Boulevard in an area where it could prevent a danger to the.
So a new plan was provided, except the height of the actual, there's a retaining wall, and on top of the retaining wall are planters that are essentially.
Concrete.
Correct, they're concrete, so there's no visibility. So we just reached out to them again, stating that, we wanted more information on the plot plan, and we're just waiting for them to resubmit. And then it has to be re-reviewed by the building department, because it did not appear that those structures had permits, and they may need variance relief.
Okay.
We might want it.
Okay.
Well, we don't necessarily know if they're gonna have to. I personally think that it's going to need variance relief. If they don't change it, it's a solid brick wall. And then it
Along
doesn't
Lido
have
Boulevard where you
clearance.
have to pull
No,
out.
I love this, but instead of leaving it on the reserve fund, is it a way to like, sort of like make them refile again or without prejudice?
I mean, what you can do is you can adjourn it without a date until they refile, have them renotice, you can do that.
But we don't usually do that on a maintain because they have no incentive.
But yeah, because this will stay here forever.
But, at least we're keeping our fingers on the pulse and we're trying to get them, and listen, they may wanna take it down for all we know. This might be an incentive for them to remove it as opposed to trying to legalize it. So, ball's in their court right now.
I don't see why, like literally when they've been staying in touch. So
We've been
when,
following up, yep.
so when you tell them this or
And I
whatever.
just told them this, I think yesterday, that their plot plan was missing information.
Okay.
Oh, this is from July, so it's October.
I get
That's
you,
my point.
I get you.
But there has been a back and forth. It's not just been sitting.
There's been a bit of a dialogue. Again, the ball is in their court. Now, we can revisit it next hearing date. If they haven't still provided everything, then we can,
I think
revisit.
that makes sense.
Okay. Argo, Mr. Minerva, so that's the next one, 32825. He did provide all of the information with respect to the vehicles that were being stored. I know that the board was to inspect.
Hold on, which one is that?
That's the one in Oceanside.
That's the one used to be.
Agro Holdings.
Yep,
We called the Frank Damara project, right?
it's right across from Alias Smith and Jones.
Yeah.
It's the
I
Christian
wasn't
Barber.
here. I'm sorry, what's the status here?
He provided the information requested as to what type of vehicles were going to be stored there. And,
Kim and I weren't here.
Yes.
You have enough without Joe, but you might want to have Joe here too. I don't know.
I think we better hold it for Joe because both he and I,
What does everybody think? Anybody have an opinion?
I deny
Joanne,
it.
are you for this or against it?
I'm probably the only one that says okay.
I deny it.
Whatever you want to do is fine with me.
Wasn't he supposed to provide?
He did.
He did.
He did?
Yeah, not enough of a, but there is not, in my opinion, you can't provide a big enough buffer if you're gonna start storing.
We have a vote on it.
Yeah, you guys have enough here. Kim and I are out.
I'm against it.
All right, I'm against it.
I'm against it. 3 out of 4.
Well, Joanne, it does actually matter.
Doesn't matter. It's,
Wait, is it the majority of those here?
no,
No.
no.
need
You
at
need
least
a
4,
majority
right?
of the
4 out of
board.
7.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, we need 4 out of 7.
Oh, so then we can't vote on it.
Well, you could, but if Joanne says she's in favor,
She's in
then-
favor of it, then we have to wait.
We have to, Joanne. There's nothing wrong with saying you're not working for me.
Okay.
So,
With respect to 328 of 2025, location of property is 2864 Woods Avenue on Oceanside. I move that we adopt a negative declaration as to the CEQA determination based on the testimony given, exhibits in the file, and other materials we have reviewed and analyzed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next motion?
now this one
I
says.
can't make a
Did we get the
motion.
full inspection stuff? Sorry, I don't want to.
We just did the secret.
Right.
I
Yep.
don't think we really needed a secret. You want to just hold it for the next, let's hold it for the next.
Oh,
week.
I'm sorry, we don't
That's
need
okay.
that.
We'll hold it for the next week. You can do it. We'll hold it for the next week. Yeah, we will hold it.
Joe
Yes,
is
that's
for
okay.
it.
That's okay. You know what?
Wanted to know.
That's so, we don't,
Joe's for it too, it's not.
No,
yeah.
he's not.
So let's wait
I'm the only
until,
Oh, yeah, we'll
let's
wait.
wait for the next
Wait
hearing.
until he comes back.
Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, the next one, the pool inspection was done and they failed their inspection. They're apparently rectifying, it was nothing crazy, it was like something with a vacuum and to get more pool alarm. So they're rectifying it, they will reschedule.
Okay.
Pat, you're up.
They're gonna do it quickly, I
Oh,
So the applicant provided new plans coming down the 3rd story,
Mhm.
but still leaving half of the 3rd story.
Mhm.
I will speak with the attorney, Mr. Panesso, and let him know the board's feelings on what he should do to come down a little bit further on.
Yep,
Are you on the Irving case one?
that was Woodmere. Yeah.
Well, I thought we were looking at some stuff on that. Did you got,
We are. We're looking at a third story as opposed to a whole third story.
so are you guys is it to be decided now?
Nope. We'll give the applicant a chance to perhaps revisit it. Next case, Island Park.
Yeah, I got it. The other 2 stories. Yeah, it's the only one I didn't get.
So, I do have an update on the next one, 478 of 25, Kemper. I was able to find,
Wait, what is it, 472?
478.
478. I was able to find okay, so you guys will remember, this was the case where initially an application for a fence forward of the dwelling was presented to the board denied it. We permitted the pool in the side yard, but the fence had to be up to the property line, complying with the BZO. Subsequent, what is it? Sorry, yes.
Only because
the line of the dwelling, it's very different. No, you're right. I just
I got you.
Okay.
Okay, so then they made an application for a rehearing of the board's denial, and they moved the fence back from the property line to be about 10 feet forward of the house line. And the board denied the rehearing request. That decision was never appealed. Then they came back on September 10th seeking to now maintain a 6-foot-high pool enclosure forward of the dwelling.
Same.
So the testimony, I don't think they elicited.
That was a brand new application.
It was a brand new application, but I don't recall there being any new facts. So then the board clearly hasn't determined the case, but that same day, we get a request for a reopening of that case.
And just for the record, we brought up in the hearing, there might be an issue about res judicata.
Correct.
And then, go ahead.
Correct. So then, prior to the board rendering a decision, the office received a letter from the expediter making an application for a reopening, stating that the pool that was in the side yard was apparently installed 4 to 5 feet closer forward of where it was supposed to be installed, and that's why they apparently need the fence.
And they made that representation at that hearing too.
Okay, that I don't remember that, but the plans looked the same from what I saw when it came to where the pool was located. So that's what's in front of the person.
Well, I think we definitely have res judicata basis. In addition, the council's review of the original site plan and pool, which governed our first hearing, where we said, put in your pool, we'll give it to you, put the fence even with the front of the house. The second hearing, when they claimed, which already was in res judicata, danger, they said, oh, but we accidentally put the pool in forward of where we had proposed it back then. Upon review of both plot plans, council, it seems evident the pool was exactly in the same location that they had proposed it the first time. So that wasn't, so then they came in, so it was all the way to the street, then it was 10 feet, then it was 5 feet. And when I inspected it on multiple occasions, they then now went ahead and put the fence forward of the dwelling, despite having been told more than once it had to be even with the dwelling. They put it forward, and then they went out to the other property line that they originally requested, which is all the way to the street, and installed, I want to say they're about 8-foot abrevieties, which are in many places touching, and if they are not now a living fence of 8 feet or more on the property line along the street, they will soon be. And I, at the risk of speculating, first of all, I won't even speculate. That living fence is doing exactly what we told them they could not do with a regular fence. And so, in my opinion, we should deny it, not just on the basis of res judicata, but on all the bases that we originally denied the fence forward of the dwelling. I move, as it relates to case 478 of 2025 in Lido Beach, which affects the property at 25 Saratoga Street, that we deny the request for the 6-foot-high fence forward of the dwelling, both on the original merits upon which we denied it, and on the basis that it's likely barred by res judicata principles.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed?
You know what I'm doing.
Yeah, because again, it was the same parties, same property, same relief requested. The final judgment was rendered on the merits. The rehearing was denied. No appeal was taken from the initial denial. And the, I don't think you can hear me. The rehearing requested the same relief as in the current case. So this is now essentially the third bite at the apple. And again.
Not to mention, we told them on multiple occasions, it was evident to them that the fence had to be at the line. And yet, and despite that, they still installed it forward of the dwelling.
And again, just one other thing.
And another fence of living.
So this, and that there was no substantial change in circumstances because the plans that were submitted in support of the second application show the pool in the same exact spot as the initial application.
Yeah, because they had.
How far is the pool from the front of the house?
So it's tough to tell because they don't really have very good measurements here, but this is what's being proposed. That was what was being proposed
Originally.
Maybe see, if you put a piece of paper, you can kind of see.
See, it's almost even with the front of the house.
Almost. And that's the plot plan that was submitted in support of the most recent application. This was what was submitted for the rehearing request, and you see, this is where the pool line is.
And where's the front of the house?
Front of the house is right here. So it's essentially the same spot.
With the pool, does it have to be so far away from the fence?
I don't think so.
Becky didn't seem to.
I have my pool. There's a 12-inch coping around the wall to my deck. On the other side, I have a 2-foot, gardening area.
Okay, so
and the fence.
They should just put the fence right here.
Yeah, which is
But
what
you
I'm
see,
saying.
the pool's in the same location. Yeah. You can't keep submitting incorrect plans. If you're telling me that it was installed 4 to 5 feet in the wrong location, your plans don't reflect that. That's a problem. So I'm gonna make sure these get scanned, by the way. Okay, so obviously the reopening was denied as well.
Next.
Okay, so the next two, 484 and 485, new plans were provided with a 50-50 split. They have to be reviewed by the building department.
All right, so we're all dead.
I don't know what you're gonna do.
Why was I even going to inspect that?
Okay, so 503 and 504, similarly, new plans were submitted. I'm just waiting for re-review. I do believe that it might trigger additional relief, but it's got to be reviewed by the plans examiner. And then lastly, when it comes to reserve, same situation, 508, 509, we're waiting for amended plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure this gets uploaded. Yeah, we're waiting on plans. There's gonna be, I would think there's going to be further inspections because they're going to remove it from compliance. So we can make mention in the portal.
I was going to say that who's doing the inspection, maybe make mention to them to take a look at the living fence.
What do we what else do we have? Administrative. The cell towers?
I'm going to inspect it, but others can too.
If you inspect it, then I don't have to go, because I've been doing it East Atlantic.
Well, more than one person can do it, it's better.
I already have my opinion, because I think in my mind in that case, that they could have built the house right in the front and they'd have no view. like, because the house is basically back 50 feet and they have a garden in front. All the other houses on the Google Earth are like right up to the beach.
It's funny they didn't work out cutting it back a little, like away from that house, because both of them, both the gentleman whose letter was read, whose next door neighbor, Burns, and the applicant both said, you know, I really like each other, we respect each other. You thought they could like say, okay, we'll move it 5 feet this way, we still get a 42-foot deck, you know? Yeah, definitely go look at that, Mark. So I'd rather have more than one person look at it. Well, I just think the more of us who look at it, the better our. But it's not about that. Just because I've been on the board longer, you know, common sense is common sense. You go look at it. If I get a chance, I'm gonna look at it too, but if I don't, I don't. But even if we both do, it's better to have more input.
So Christina, his tree preservation affidavit would
NMACZ LLC sent a follow-up letter requesting there be a modification on the owner-occupied conditions for a new construction point lookout. If you would like to take a look.
No, as in, no.
What is it?
It's, so a standard new home condition that the board imposes is that they be owner-occupied.
Oh, okay, and this one doesn't want it?
Correct.
He'd like
Oh,
to-
this is back to the person who wants to be in the summer and rent it. This is hard because I know in Point Lookout, it's standard procedure.
What
that.
is?
So
What is?
remember Danny Fisher?
No, I remember Danny. I
Okay,
know
let me
nothing
say
about
it.
what he did.
Well, because the people who have the summer homes there, they're there for the 3 or 4 months. Danny
also. So they were intending on giving one of the homes to apparently, to allow their children to use.
That's a far cry.
Mr. Chairman, as it relates to case 136 of 2025, affecting the property located in Point Lookout. I don't have an address. This is the request of the applicant, Charles J. Colasato. That's the attorney for the applicant, I guess, that requesting the board amend the conditions to exclude the condition we imposed as to it being owner occupied at all times, and a condition I thought that the representative and or the landowner agreed to. But at any rate, I move that we deny the request to change the conditions that were imposed on the applicant in the original hearing.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I
opposed?
abstain.
Okay, one abstention. Next,
Extensions of time.
are they timely?
They are timely.
To the Joe inspections.
We have 3 requests for extensions of time. The first one is for Keith and Catherine Ruzicka. It was a case in August of 2024. They're seeking an extension of time because they're
Secure permits.
secure the permits. Their architect retired and subsequently also had a stroke. So they need time. They need time to get everything done.
Okay, so to secure the permits, how much time do you think they need?
He didn't write time, but we've been giving 9 months.
Okay, I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman. I move, Mr. Chairman, as it relates to case 526, 25 or
24.
Of 2024, it's Keith and Catherine Ruzicka, I think I'm reading upside down. The request to get an extension time to secure their permits, that we grant them a 9-month extension of time to do so.
Second. Aye.
The most important thing is say that part when you tell us.
We have another extension of time for case relating to 82 Woodhale LLC. It was a case from March of 2021. They're looking for an extension of time to complete construction.
Is that in Lido?
This is in Lido, yes. This is they've had 2 extensions of time to date. The reason for the delay is the work has been underway for 18 months after an initial delay due to groundwater height, and supplemental drawings filed to address that issue. Also, the windows took additional fabrication time due to hurricane-resistant construction.
Do they give us photographs? Because
They do
whenever
give us
it's complete construction, we started requiring photographs to make sure it's kind of clean. How much time do they say they need?
They do not specify. Again, we've been giving 9 months.
But that's complete construction. Like sometimes that's a bigger deal because it's a mess. That's the issue.
Do you want to do a year? Do you want to give them a year?
9 at the most, I would say. All right, as it relates to cases number 160 and 161 of which year? 2021, the request for additional time to complete the construction at 82 Woodhill Street in Lido Beach due to delays of fabricating, etc. I move that we give them a 9-month period of time to complete construction.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have one last extension of time request for case 244 of 2025, Central Biblioca Casa de Restauración Incorporated. This is an extension of time to secure permits. They needed to get a 239F from the Department of Public Works. They have submitted already to Nassau County, but they're waiting for approval. They say it could take 30 days or more to get a response. I tend to think that that takes a little bit longer. And again,
Have they asked for it before?
no, this is the first request.
Nine months? 4 months?
Want to make a motion?
With respect to, let's see. Oh, there it is. With respect to case 244 of 2025, location 2880 Grand Avenue in Baldwin. They're asking, they're waiting for approval from Nassau County for, with respect to 239. We'll give them a period of 4 months.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Chairman, I move that we close our proceedings.
I second it.
Second.
Second.